We're live.
Woo!
Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. Just wait for some people to show up, as always.
I always forget to turn off the sound on YouTube when I click over.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, also, we really hit 400 subscribers, y'all.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. We have 400 subscribers.
Nekkid Readathon really garnered some new people to find us, which is really cool.
It's like, holy crap, guys. We're almost at our celebration.
I know, we're so close.
We got to hit 500 by the end of the year.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
We'd probably have to post a little bit more on this channel.
Yeah.
In order for that to happen.
Lord Jesus. That'll be that's a whole other issue.
Right.
Hey, everyone in the chat. I see all of y'all.
Hey, welcome. Hey. So we're going to be doing podcast style tonight. Welcome to Black Prose Podcast, the book club edition, where Black lives, Black books, and Black writers have always mattered. Tonight we will be discussing the Nekkid Readathon group read, The Reinvention of the Rose by the Queen, Christina C. Jones.
Woo.
And I am very happy to say all three of us did read this book, including Brittany. I am very proud of her.
Right, so we're not doing the end of Readathon live without the group read.
I know. But first I want to ask the questions, the elephant in the room. Brittany, you're not really included in this besides the group read, but how did y'all do on this readathon?
I always enjoy rereading. So when I got to that prompt, I was like, yes, let me go ahead and reread my Love Sisters and get my whole entire life. I really tried not to do too many Christina C. Jones books, but it's very hard because she's a great place to go to when you want, I think you said it in your video, when you want different tropes.
Yes.
I gave myself only 2.
Okay.
So the group read and then one other one.
Okay. Yeah. So how many books did you finish?
3.
Me too. I was so proud of myself because the 3 books I read within the last 48 hours. Because
Same.
This week was very, very busy at work, and also just, I don't know what it is. I honestly feel like I have this weird blockage when it comes to readathons, because it reminds me kind of assigned reading in school.
That's exactly what it feels like.
So whenever there's a readathon and I'm no matter how excited I am for it, all of a sudden I don't feel like reading.
Oh my gosh. So
all week I was literally watching TV, writing, staring at the ceiling. I was not reading. I was not in the mood. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, there's only a couple days left. So thankfully the books I picked were fairly short. The group read was fairly short. Fans Only by B. Love was a novella, so I was able to read that in 2 hours. And then I reread the Desiree book I wanted to reread, flew through that in 3 hours. And then I also read Missing a Book. 1, 2. I guess maybe I read 4 books.
Ooh.
Go girl.
Hold on, I read Fans Only. I feel like I posted about this on Instagram, but I can't. Maybe was it 3 or 4? Oh, I know what it was. I got into the middle of my street lit pick. I was halfway through, and then I just didn't pick it back up, which happens sometimes. I got to get back to it. But I did fairly well, but it was more when you're used to procrastinating through life and you're just really good at living in that place of right before the deadline, getting that shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
So I guess the real question, so Miss WOC Reader said that she actually discovered a new book by a Black author that she really enjoyed.
Oh, wow.
And it's Something About You by Bridget Anderson.
Nice. Okay, I'll have to check out Bridget Anderson. Oh, I remember the book I read now, but I'll have to check out Bridget Anderson. My paranormal pick or my monster smut pick, Succulents, which is like the corniest title I've literally ever seen in my life. When I tell you, I was a little hesitant because I was talking to Abominable and she was like, oh, it read kind of like a Wattpad fiction. So I was like, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was a vampire romance. I don't know. I feel like vampire romances can go either one of two ways. Either they're going to be very dark and like morally gray shit is going to be going down, or it's going to be very tropey and be about like mates and be very just like formulated. So, I mean, you get what you get.
Right.
This one was more like very formulaic. It was about like mates and things like that. But I still enjoyed it just because everybody in the book was Black and I was loving it. I was like, Black vampires.
I mean, obviously, you're going to have to post the title in the chat so we can put it on the screen because I know somebody's going to want to know because you mentioned vampires and we have certain people in our book club that are obsessed with vampire books. So
okay, I will put it in the chat. This one scene just tickled me because you know how there's that whole myth that vampires can't go out in the daytime?
Yeah.
Well, she sees him, like the female protagonist sees him out in the daytime and she looks all like, oh my gosh, like you're out in the daytime. And he's just like, he makes this joke and he was like, basically like, I hope you don't think all this melanin ain't for nothing. Like, I'm not like those white vampires.
Oh my god.
I can't, of course.
It was hilarious. I was not expecting that joke. Okay.
So I guess a question that I wanted to ask. Did anybody that joined us in the Readathon, did anybody have trouble finding Black love books that fit these prompts? Because we started noticing that, you know, the accessibility of Black love in the book community is just not on the same level as every other type of love. The amount of Goodreads lists that I saw that were supposed to be like Black romance, but were interracial list was alarming. But obviously we have to wait a second because StreamYard lags. We really need something other than StreamYard one of these days.
I know.
I know, because sometimes we'll move on to like 2 subjects away and the chat will just be coming up at like
it's like be messing up the flow. It's so rude.
Yeah, the lag is too far behind.
Novelist said for the monster smut, yes.
Monster smut was really hard to find for me. I literally had to Google it, and I think I mentioned that in my TBR video. But I really think what it comes down to is the publishing industry just needs to admit that Black indie romance is Black romance.
Mine as well, because all the TBRs that I saw were mainly Black indie romance.
Exactly. And I feel like it's not right because these Black indie romance authors don't get the recognition and the love that they deserve. And when you think about traditional Black romance, traditional published, you can only like name like a handful of authors, and Beverly Jenkins always comes to mind because she's been doing it for so long. But then after her, people are like, oh, Jasmine Guillory, and then maybe they'll name a couple more. But like you said, most of the Black romance authors who are traditionally published majority write interracial romance.
Yeah,
and it
which
also
is
has a lot to
fine.
do with who is promoting them. Because if you look at BookTube, you know, I think I said this is a shady comment on my part, but y'all know I'm shady. When I did that forever ago, and I did that video where I read you guys' favorite books, I made a comment that BookTube will only read Black romances if one of the people are white. Only if they're one of them are white. Sometimes other POC, but the main ones that are like hyped up, like the Jasmine Guillory book, what's that other one that's really popular on I can't think of the name right now, but there are quite a few that are always on BookTube, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that what is marketed as like the good books are always with, and especially this, it's always a male white man and a female Black woman.
Yes, that is very popular trope.
Almost always, and it's just like for that reason, and I said this before too, is that my Kindle, it'll tell you, oh, you should read this, you should read that. And I have a whole bunch of Christina C. Jones. I have a whole bunch of B. Loves. I have a whole bunch of Kennedy Ryans. All I'm saying is, if your Kindle is only, pushing out some white people, it's reflecting what's in your library.
Yes. No, this is facts.
Can we also talk about how like the only way that you can buy certain like indie books is through Kindle? Like it was like paperback or Kindle.
I know.
And it was like,
I really hated that there weren't a lot of audiobook options. Christina C. Jones is just now getting a lot of her books on audio.
She only has like 5 or 6 too. Not even a lot.
But a lot of these indie romance authors, they don't have their books on audio, and it's so annoying because I wanted to be able to, listen on my way to work. That would have been very helpful, or as I'm doing chores, or as I'm just laying around the house to, help me get some reading in. And there was no options. I was searching high, low.
Yeah,
wow.
The option it makes it even makes it difficult to read Black romance, which is very interesting, honestly. I mean, right now it's very popular to act like you like Black people. So you would think there'd be a little bit more of a push. But then I remember that like we're talking about Black love, and that is something that they're like, I mean, that's cute, but like do that at home.
Also, I agree with novelists. Can we at least read some interracial ones where it's the Black woman, Black man, and the other person is not white?
I mean, that's something y'all got to figure out because that's not my genre.
I've always wondered about that because I'm just like, there's so many other races that could be written about, and there are so many other interracial unions that happen. And it's very interesting that is such a popular.
And it's pushed out for all the a lot of ethnic groups and a lot of races. I remember my best friend texting me, and she was just like, "How come every time I put in Mexican romances, it's a Mexican girl and a white boy? How is that always a thing?" I'm like, "Girl,
do you want to come on the book club and talk about it? Because we talk about this a lot."
The thing is, though, this is the truth. Authors want their books to be published.
Yeah.
And they also want their books to be read. And there's that thing where they'll use coded language by saying, "Oh, we want to have our books be accessible to the readers," or we want a diverse reading group, or we want the readers to feel comfortable. And really, all that it means, it's just coded language to mean you want the majority. You want the majority of society, which is white people, to enjoy, or at least in in the market that we're in the Western world, you want them to enjoy your book. And the honest truth is they're least likely to pick up a romance if they don't see someone that looks like them on the cover.
But expect us to our whole lives.
Look, it's not right, but that's just how it is. And as a writer, like, who knows, authors who have books published, like, that's just the reality. It's like you want your book to be published, and then you also want it to be read. And they use a lot of those coded words like accessibility and marketing and branding. And I want it to be open to more than one type of demographic. That's another good one. Demographic.
Oh yeah.
So it's very coded language, but you know exactly what it means. And I think it's really sad because Black people read, and we want our romances that feature us. And it's almost saying that we're not marketable enough. And I don't think that that's right. And it's not even just, we're the only ones that are going to be reading our stories. I feel like everyone can read the stories.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it's wrong that a Black author writes interracial or whatever. I just hate, like, kind of like with Miss WOC Reader, like, I hate when there's like an excuse not to write Black romance. It's like
Yeah.
if you write all the other romances and Black romance is the one that you stay away from because you want it to be accessible.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, okay, so you're just perpetuating this narrative that that Black love is somehow something so taboo that people wouldn't want to read it. And two, you're accepting the publishing company's lies and excuses that says like Black love is not marketable, or like Black love is not real, or Black love is Black love as long as it's interracial.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
And they all go ahead, Shirley.
Oh no, go ahead, please.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I feel like you and I always do this every live.
We do. It's okay.
I was gonna say also where characters are concerned, where there is a Black female in it, a lot of times I'll read it and I'm like, oh, it's this type of romance because a lot of times they won't have other Black friends. And that's a comfortable space that a lot of the book community likes to be in because they'll have like a white friend who's very just out of touch, or a Latina friend who's super out of touch, and like she feels like that she has no one to talk to. I'm just like, well, do you ever feel like you don't have anyone to talk to because everyone around you are non-Black people, which is kind of odd?
Right. You don't have anyone to relate with. It's interesting because what I've found, and this isn't just in books, but I found this in media too, like visual media, like, television and film and all forms of media, is how uncomfortable the general public is with A, Black people loving one another.
Yep.
And B, a Black woman being the center of a story.
Also, not Black, but like brown skin, because for some reason they can never be described as being brown skin unless it's in an interracial.
Right. It's very interesting. You're absolutely right. If it's an interracial romance, then it's almost as if the author either is overcompensating or feels more comfortable with being able to make the female character more melanated in complexion.
Yo, Miss WOC Reader asked the question I was about to ask.
Me and Brittany had this whole conversation group chat.
Because I was so confused. I was like, why they act like the only accessible men to rich Black women are non-Black? Like, it's a whole rich Black family with a famous Black grandma. Y'all telling me not one Black man could have been involved in these stories? Like, come on. And let's stop pretending. In a lot of Black families, not everybody goes interracial. Well, Black men, but yeah,
there's always a brother that does it.
Black women don't go like not the whole family.
Not the whole family.
You know what's so interesting? One of the Jasmine Guillory books, I cannot for the life of me. I feel like it was The Proposal. I feel like it was, because I'm pretty sure that's the one with Carlos.
Yeah, it is.
I was going to, last year when I read it, I was going to put my review in for it, and I saw one of the bad reviews as one of the top ones, right? And I don't really like read bad reviews typically, but it was a white woman. I decided to read it, right? And this is what Brittany was saying about skin color. Her biggest gripe with this book, I swear you guys probably can go find it. She said there weren't pretty words to describe her skin color, because at one point in the book, Carlos was with his family and he didn't tell them originally that she was Black, right? And his mom was like, you didn't tell us that she was Black. And apparently to this white woman, she was offended.
Oh my God.
That's real life though.
That they said Black and didn't say, you didn't tell us you were bringing this chocolate princess.
It had to be something stupid like Onyx or what is the favorite white person? Oh, some stupid thing like sepia skin woman or something. You didn't tell us it was sepia.
There's like sepia, there's mocha, there's peanut butter, there's
caramel, honey.
Caramel, that's a good one.
Like they don't like the books that are very relatable in real life, because that's what happens when, like, if you are in a POC family and you bring home somebody of a different skin tone, whether we like to admit it out loud or not, that kind of statement definitely comes up. Like, oh, you ain't tell me old girl was white.
Oh,
It
all the
does.
time.
Like, that's real life.
And you know what's crazy, especially in those instances, because like I'll even see like, people say like Nubian queen. I'm like, wait, first of all,
I hate that when it's not by a Black
it's
person.
not even historically accurate. Okay, the slave trade was in West Africa. So please explain to me how all of us are Nubian queens when ain't nobody was.
Also, I cringe whenever a non-person of color, I'm sorry, I lied. When a non-Black person uses Nubian queen or African queen or chocolate queen, anything of that nature, it makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm always just like, my mom is from Washington, D.C., so I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's just so awkward. It's like, stop.
It definitely smacks of overcompensation and like they're trying super hard to be down.
The queen thing doesn't even I don't even want to register it if it's not a Black guy saying it to me, because I'm just like,
and then some of them are too active to be saying it too.
Yeah, like I had one that kept calling me that. I'm just like, my name is Troy, right? Like, it's okay to just call me that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I forgot to bring up a comment from earlier. Novelist said, I want more monster smut mythology in both genres. Imagine a Black woman falling in love with an Indian god or a Polynesian demigod. Yes.
That actually already, I read a book. I'll have to find it, novelist, and send to you. But I read a book that I actually really enjoyed about a Black woman that falls in love with someone who is like a Polynesian demigod. It's so funny you said that, because
that's a real book already?
Yeah.
Look at that. See?
I read it earlier this year, so I will send it to you on Instagram DMs. I'll send it to you once I find it. I have to go through my Kindle Unlimiteds. I actually really enjoyed it. It was really good. So
see, this is why, like, for the people in this book club and the people watching, like, this is why we need y'all and Oshley and Troy to be out here like shouting out these books, because one of y'all will be looking for something and one of y'all, the other person, had already read it. How great is that?
I know.
Black love with the demigod. I stand. It's like Black love and he's a demigod. Because let's be honest, the origination of Polynesian people is a whole history lesson that a lot of people don't want to hear.
I know.
WOC Reader said, I hate when books try to go non-food description, but then use colors you have to Google to figure out what they're talking about.
Yes. This is me.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
honestly feel that these authors are going to the paint section of the hardware store and are going through the colors and are like, not this type of brown, but you know how the browns are like a half a shade off. The undershades would be like a little orange, a little pink, and they're just going through the colors like, yes, I'm gonna call her skin this.
I'm gonna call it off shade brown.
You know what's funny? I'm going to a paint website right now because I just want to read the brown section.
I mean, do what you gotta do, but it's so obvious.
I mean, yeah, but now I'm like, I feel very obligated to go like.
That, or you can always tell when a non-Black person is writing for a Black guy because they don't know how to what to call shape ups or nothing. And I'm just like,
oh my God. Also, just for public knowledge, please, any person not of Black descent that listens to this, please stop calling locks dreadlocks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes.
If you don't know why, a Google search will help you, but I will give you a shorter version. Dread stand for dreadful. So exactly something you want to hear when you have locks in your hair and they are a part of your cultural experience. So please just put locks. It's shorter too.
Yeah. Also, there's like a long-standing history of non-Black people trying to tell us that our hair is dirty and unkempt or anything of that nature. And they love attaching that to locks, especially. So just out of a respect thing, let's just call them locks.
Yes, please.
Even if you're not offended by dreadlocks, that's fine. But here on Black Pros, we like to call them locks. Thanks.
Yes.
And it's just funny because hair in a general sense, especially in when you're reading, like if you're reading a Black love book, it's very different than reading them for interracial aspect of it, because every time I read an interracial one, there's like an extra emphasis on either this person's skin color, and just because they're Black, because like it's an obvious thing that they're Black, but it'll be emphasis on the skin color or emphasis on a product they use. And I'm just like, now I know this white man don't be going to Sarah talking about some, oh yeah, what is Garnier fruity? He do not care about all that. Like,
no,
I do not.
I was not ready.
When I tell you, I told y'all about this before, but one of the most incredulous scenes I've ever read was in that interracial romance series by Maureen Smith with all the white hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
Where all the white hockey players on this one team end up all with Black women, and they legit have this conversation where they all get together because they're all friends and start talking about natural hair. And I'm
wait. The whole hockey team ends up dating Black women?
Well, not all of them, but they're okay. So it's a hockey team, and there's about 4 or 5 of them that are really close. And they're the ones that end up with the Black women. And of course, all the Black women are like friends or related to each other in some way. It's cute. It's a little corny, but it's cute. But anyways, so the funniest scene to me was literally these dudes all sat together. I don't even remember where they were at. I think they were at dinner or something, but somewhere where they were all together in a group. And they all just started having this conversation about natural hair and Black women and how important natural hair was and how it's an expression of their Blackness and how it's their crown. And this one guy was like, I'm learning how to do it. I'm like, what is going on?
I mean, to be clear, that sounds like a beautiful love story if somebody wants to do my natural hair, but like, that's not at all.
I was done. I was like, that's actually not the only interracial romance I've read something like that in there. The other interracial romance I was telling y'all about that was very questionable about that racist dude that falls in love with the Black woman.
Oh, yeah.
He had a whole fetishization about her hair as well. And he was like running out to the drugstore and like buying the products and being like, upset when the gentrified drugstores in the white neighborhoods didn't have the products. And he's like yelling at the freaking workers, like, y'all should have these products here. What is that?
I literally cannot.
I forgot all about that racist crack story. That don't make no sense. Like, that's not realistic.
Read one where it was like they were in the tub together and like he picked up 2 different ones, and I think one was Shea Moisture, and I swear to God, guys, this is the first time I actually registered what TGIN stood for. He was like, what, Shea Moisture or Thank God It's Natural? And I was like, Thank God It's Natural, what the hell is that? And I really thought about it, and I was like, TGIN, because I never say the full length name.
I never either. I forgot all about that. I was like, oh yeah, that is TGIN.
I was like, this would only happen in interracial romance.
And I love TGIN too.
Me too.
I think to this day, the funniest interracial romance I've ever read was a street lit book.
Oh God.
And it was called, what was it called? I think it was called Billionaire or Billion. I think it was called Billion. But it was about this white dude named Billion.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I highly recommend this book. It was entertaining as hell. But
yeah, you need to post another video on our channel about these types of books, man.
It was so entertaining. I think I've reread it. I've already reread it at least 2 times because it's just so entertaining. But it was literally this white dude that grew up in the hood. And
I love those.
He was basically Black, only he wasn't. And the girl didn't want to date him at first because he was white. There was this one whole scene that cracked me up in the story where her one friend kept calling him a white nigga. And she was like, but he's not a nigga. What are you talking about? And I died.
Very realistic. That is a very realistic scene.
I was like, this is the entertainment I need.
His name is Billion. I feel like I was gonna laugh the whole time anyway.
And he was like a famous DJ or something. It was funny.
Of course he was a DJ, because clearly if you live in the hood as a white person, you can only be a DJ, own some type of clothing store. Yes. Or
oh no, that's what it was. He owned a clothing line.
No,
he was famous on Instagram.
I cannot.
You gotta work on the. Why are there so many stereotypes? I can't.
I highly recommend this read.
Abominable says goes to Kindle Unlimited.
Right.
It is on Kindle Unlimited. Anyways, it is time for us to segue to talking about the Reinvention of the Rose by Christina C. Jones.
Shout out
let's
to Christina
discuss-
C. Jones.
We're not going to get too spoilery if you haven't read it.
Oh,
Or at least we won't without a warning. But let's talk about our reading experience with it. I'm not going to lie, Troy, you shocked me when you said in the group chat you did not like Tempest, our main female protagonist.
I'm sorry, she lost me with that whole. Of course he wants me. Everybody wants me. I was lost. I was like, oh no.
Listen, I want to have that kind of confidence.
I want that kind of confidence too.
This is the way I looked at it. This woman has literally lived her entire life being used as a weapon for whatever missions she was supposed to be on. So she's speaking objectively.
Yeah.
She looks at herself in the mirror and she sees her attractiveness, but that's also proven by her using her sexuality as a weapon in these missions, and it's never failed. So she's just speaking facts. She's just like, well, in my whole life, I've never been turned down or rejected. That's
true. Because she really was looking at everything like it was an operative type situation where it was like, of course you want me. Everyone wants me. That's a part of the job.
Right. So that's kind of how I saw it. I didn't see it as her like thinking that she was hot shit, because the majority of the story, she actually had very low self-esteem in the sense that she didn't know who she was, really. Yeah. And she didn't know how to live a normal life. But I saw her as just being factual, like, well, whenever I've turned it on, they've always fallen for it. So I've never been rejected. So
But beyond that, I wasn't like super interested. I couldn't say that I was super interested in her, period. Like she was a character that I particularly cared about. Now, if there was more, like Deadly Assassin into it, I think I would have liked her a little bit more.
Hell yes.
Every time she was about to like pop someone in the face, I was like, "What that hoe?" But every time it didn't happen, I was like, "Kill her."
Okay, so for backstory, for those that are unaware, the Reinvention of the Rose is basically a story about a former operative from a organization. We'll just call it that. And the organization is no longer in existence. It's been disbanded. And now she has to learn how to acclimate herself to being a normal civilian, living a normal life, not going on missions anymore. And her whole life that she can remember, she's always had like a character to play and a part to play. And now she finally has to be herself. And after all these years of never being herself, she's struggling to figure that out. So she moves to this Black neighborhood.
The Heights.
She buys a candle shop, even though she has no interest in candles. And she's basically just trying to figure out how to be a normal person because she's never had to. She has no family that she can recall. And all of her memories are from her operative life. So she is basically in this place where she's trying to become a normal woman.
Yep.
And then she meets neighborhood hottie
Tristan's fine ass.
I love that.
Tristan, oh my God, I fucking loved him. And he's like a tattoo artist, but he also moonlights as a bouncer at this popular like poetry / bar spot. And it's kind of like their relationship and also with her trying to figure out who she is and what she's going to do with this next chapter of her life. So that's it in a nutshell what the book was about.
Yeah, so we can just all collectively say Tristan sounds fine as hell.
Oh my gosh, he was fine. I was like,
thank you, Christina, for this visual, because this tall, thick chocolate man with dread or with locks and have the audacity to have full ink
everywhere.
Listen. That scene where she was trying to play with him, I was like, listen. I was lost for words.
When he snatched Oldu up, I hollered because I had the visual like they were in some kind of bar or something, like, you know, one of like the clubs that's like a black club, like, you know, the kind of atmosphere that is. So for the security guard to walk through, that means people like paved the way for him to snatch old dude.
Paved the way. Honestly,
snatched him, then snatched her.
Right.
And then, yes, my favorite thing about him was how real he felt. Like, he felt like somebody that I might know. Like, he felt so real
and genuine too.
Yes, and he wasn't perfect. Like, he had his issues, and you know, he's a veteran and he's dealing with PTSD from being deployed and missions overseas. So they kind of connected on that level of like trauma and being operatives. And also he had his fuckboy tendencies that he needed to get rid of.
That has to be a separate topic, because listen, we triggered.
Those fuckboy tendencies literally made me so mad, because we've all been there.
I was like screaming, like, yes, tell him, do not put up with that shit.
Yeah, she was like, hell to the fucking no.
Oh,
and the way that she was allowing his ex-girlfriend to talk to her while he was in her presence had me on one. I was like, he's not going to say anything.
The best part about those scenes was the fact that we got to hear Tempest's conversation in her head, where she was like, I could literally put both my hands on this bitch and kill her.
I mean, she choked her out.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talk about how she did that so effortlessly, though. Like, chick was like, trouble in paradise.
She was like, you got to go. Like, that whole scene, the process in her mind was like, nope, this can't stand. She's got to go. I was like,
the part that also cracked me out was just like, well, we're talking about Naya,
whatever her name was, Naya.
She's Tristan's ex-girlfriend or something. And she was like, the moment she showed up on the scene, she was disrespectful to Tempest. Like, the moment she showed up on the scene. So the whole time I'm just thinking, for somebody who talks this much cash money, you would think by now you'd know how to fight a little bit.
I was about to say,
the first time
she was talking like somebody that could really throw down and could throw hands, but she couldn't.
I was just like, girl. Also, thank you, Christina C. Jones, for giving us a Black girl conversation where, like, busting out laughing out loud, not caring who sees it, happens.
Yes.
Is that coffee scene where Jules basically told her that Tristan's baby mama walked into my place of operation
and dog walked her
tail, and then told her that the hair dryer on her client was done. I hollered.
That was amazing. I instantly loved Tristan's baby mama at that moment. Vaughn. I was like, yes, I'm a fan of Vaughn.
Vaughn, hand down, love her.
Vaughn is it. Also, I really appreciated the positive representation of Black fatherhood.
Yes, and then I like the fact that, technically, like, look, it's a baby daddy, baby mama, and it wasn't drama.
Wasn't at all.
Because
and I like the honesty that Vaughn had, where she was like, I mean, we probably would be together if I wasn't happily with somebody else.
Wait, can we focus on that scene?
Yeah.
Because, she was honest. Like, we probably would be together if we didn't have other people. I wouldn't have been comfortable hearing that.
I don't know. I like the honesty, because she was literally like, he is the man. Sorry, dogs are going crazy. He is the man that I always wanted him to be, but I just couldn't wait for him to become that man. That's very real.
Like, that part is acceptable, but basically letting me know that now that he's like, because we all understand that Tristan had a rough, like, he had to go through going overseas to fight in the military is rough, and a lot of relationships are ruined because of that. And you said you didn't want to wait with him, and technically you had every right to leave him, but now that he's good, now it's like, I mean, I would get back with him, and it's like, okay, wait,
because she already simulated that it was if she didn't have a man, though.
It was very
all dependent on her.
If she didn't have a man, she would be with him. So what if they break up and we still together? Is she gonna become a problem?
This is facts. I didn't think about it that way, but you're exactly right. Because now in the back of her mind, she's like, oh, so this bitch needs to never be single.
Okay. Like, so y'all getting married or not? Because you need to go ahead and lock that down so you don't ever have a problem. Like,
oh God,
that was my mind went directly there, where I was like, that sounds cute and everything, but you basically just told me, like, no, I actually still want. I would totally get with him if I wasn't dating someone else.
Also, can we talk about my favorite cameos? And we're definitely from, I want to say his name is Carlos, the husband of what's the man that lives next door? Keem's husband. He was my favorite cameo because every time something crazy was happening, he was like pop up and be like, hey, have something crazy to say. Have some kind of comment about the situation.
He was very like, it was very obvious he sits on his balcony and people watches.
Yes, he is that like neighborhood auntie that knows everybody's business, knows everything that's going on in the neighborhood.
Like, you're the weird one. What?
I really enjoyed his moments of comedy. I was like, this is everything. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, which also reminds me of another comedy, The Daughter.
Oh, yes.
Can we talk about how the daughter read every single adult in this story?
Every single one.
Everyone, she read them for Phil. I was like, ooh.
And it was casual too. Well, my daddy has issues with letting things go. And that's why he still lets Nia around. And you know my mama don't like Nia, but I don't like her either. And my mama just doesn't like
It's like,
and I know you're an assassin, but you're not an assassin anymore. You're just my dad's girlfriend. And it's okay to make a change. Her daddy a fuckboy. I was like, oh sis.
Yeah, she said he's fuckboy ways. I was like,
She was like, I know my dad's acting like a fuckboy. That's what my mom said. What?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. But she was so mature for her age and so sweet. I love the fact that Christina C. Jones emphasized the fact that she did look like a little girl.
Oh my God, that scene made my
that scene gave me nightmares.
That skin, it was one of those things where I was like, cutting a little bit of his chest was not justice for making the little girl feel like she has to change her route every day that she goes home because men are harassing her.
Because it was very obvious she looked like a child.
Yeah.
And yet these men were still like catcalling her and harassing her. And we know that scene. Either we've experienced it personally ourselves, we know someone who has, or we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when I used to live in Brooklyn, like, if I ever saw like kids walking alone from school, or I saw like a girl walking alone, like, I remember like if I was behind them, like, I literally would go out of my way and not go to my train to the subway stop and walk behind them until they got to where they were going. Because I was just like, I don't feel comfortable with this girl just walking out here by herself, and these dudes are driving by in their cars mad slow. It's like, I'm just gonna walk behind her until she gets to her building.
Facts.
And then I'll go to my subway stop, because it just gives me chills.
I mean, when she blocked out with that switchway, also to all the women, everybody out here living single and being blessed, if you don't have a switchway, go ahead and get one. They're very easy to travel with. You don't need a license to carry it. And it gets the point across real quick. Just trust me. As soon as that comes out, people back away.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you walk places alone, or you go out places alone, like at least some pepper spray and a switchblade, you should be good.
I agree. It's a sad world.
It
and
is.
The fact that the little girl didn't think anything was really going to happen shows how naive we can be at times.
Also, the fact that she purposely had not told her parents, because she was like, my daddy might try to do something and end up in jail, but we all know my mom would definitely be in jail.
That's really how it is too about mamas.
Yes.
Like, if I told my mama a bunch of old men were trying to get me, she would. Yeah.
It would be a different story. She would be in jail.
Hands down.
She would be in jail.
I guess we also need, like, do we want to talk about the romance first, or do we want to talk about the situation first? Because both of these should be discussed, because this is a Black love thing. But I also really need to discuss that situation that triggered the heck out of me.
Let's start with the situation and end with something happy, the romance.
Okay. So For those who don't know, there is a scene in this book where
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert to everybody. Like, we're doing a spoiler, massive spoiler. But this scene was like one of the best scenes in the book. There is a part of the book where Tempest confronts Tristan about the way that Naya talks to her.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Tristan acknowledging the foolery, he begins to gaslight her.
Oh, he
gaslight her to the god.
And basically, girl, you tripping. You making this bigger than it is.
Oh.
It's not that big a deal. She's my friend.
No. It's not even the worst part of his whole little speech. The worst part of it was, I gave you some, and here comes the drama.
Yes.
I was like, how dare you think that the organ used just to give me what I need to actually be the life bringer into this world is going to make me be okay with being subjected to constant verbal abuse. And then you have the audacity to only look up when I rebuttal back and stand up for myself.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, drop him. We don't need him. Next.
I know.
He ain't that cute. Next.
In that moment, I was like, you know what? You might need to be alone, sis.
Right? I was like, bye, Tristan. We don't need you. Go back to tattooing her cookie. We don't need you. Like,
my favorite was when she read him for filth and was like, oh, she's your friend. Does she give you advice? Does she make you a better person? Can you call her when you're in need? She read him for filth.
Oh my God. Like, instead of answering, he was like, you tripping, man. You just tried to sabotage this. What? I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can't. I'm like, I'm hot. I had to go get some water. I was mad.
I know. I was like, he's going to regret this. That was the only thing I was thinking. I was like, they always do. They always do when they get a good girl and they do this. They end up regretting that shit.
And can we talk about how he was trading a tattoo, an expensive ass tattoo, to get his hair relocked?
Yes.
I was so confused. Like, I didn't understand how it was like, how else is she supposed to feel? Because she just spent all of this money on the tattoo that she's currently rocking from you. And you're basically doing your ex. You're in between your ex's crotch, giving her a free tattoo.
That was all I can think about was the intimacy of when you relock someone's hair in that way. Like, she's not a professional. You're not going to go to a salon and sit in a chair. At least that's not how I saw it in my mind. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, in my mind, he was going to his house and sitting in between her legs, and it was really
exactly.
Even though she's a hairdresser, but still,
fight her. And then, I'm glad that she didn't immediately fight Naya, but at the same time, I was very happy when she put her hands around her throat.
When I tell you went from 0 to 60 real quick, like, I was thinking she was just going to punch her or something like that. When she pulled out that gun in that alleyway.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Look.
How many times did Naya look? It's like, sis, she choked you out in front of people. Like, it wasn't behind a door. It wasn't.
Nope.
She choked you out in front of grown men.
It was obvious.
And then walked away. Like, you were on the floor still crying when she walked away. Then I'm trying to meet her in an alley and you were just so mad, so you pushed her. And she's the weirdo? You met her in an alley behind her shop. What did you think was going to happen? Like, I literally was like, shoot her. You gotta kill her, but shoot her in like the kneecap or something. Shoot her.
Let her get some stitches.
Oh, also Vaughn also telling Tristan that he was an idiot in that situation made my heart happy.
I know.
She was like, I told you, you're gonna lose everything going behind that bitch. And I was like,
oh, wow.
I was like, Vaughn, I was like, the only thing I didn't like about the reconciliation was the fact that he didn't apologize for gaslighting her.
He didn't.
Like, there was an overall apology and acknowledgement on what he did wrong, like, in the whole scheme of things, but there was never an acknowledgement of the gaslighting and like how detrimental that gaslighting actually is to effective communication. And that was the part where I was like, ugh, almost.
Here's the sad thing though. Most men don't even understand when they do gaslight or what it is exactly.
True.
I mean, I will never forget being in the comments of some YouTube video, or was it an Instagram live? I think it was an Instagram live. And it was Chris Brown, and he was like, I have just learned what gaslighting is. And I was like, this is most of y'all, because y'all don't know. They don't understand that term of like where they try to make us feel crazy, because for them, they're just trying to get out of trouble.
Right.
They're like, if I just try to downplay this as much as possible so that she won't be mad and I can get out of this. That's how their minds are looking at it. And we're like, no, you're literally making me feel like I'm insane and I didn't experience or see what I just saw. So it's like they don't understand. A lot of them, not all, don't understand that concept, not to give them an excuse. So his apology was like, I'm sorry I didn't, I wasn't honest, and I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. Because to him, that's what he did wrong. He's not seeing it as like, I literally made you feel crazy.
I mean, that whole scene, I was like, if you punch him in the face, I might clap. Because it was just like, oh, so what you trying to say? Like this in a relationship, and she was like, you tell me what you want to do. Do you want to put her above me? That's fine. I'm out. And I was just like, stand your ground. Don't let him get you. Stand your ground.
That was my favorite thing about Tempest. She knew her worth, and she knew who she was, and she knew what she was going to put up with, and what she was not. She was like, I might be new to this whole relationship thing, but this here, we're not doing this. This is not it. I was like, I like her. She's strong in her convictions, and she didn't seem like, obviously she was upset, but she was looking to the future. She was like, well, on to the next thing.
I mean, her friend was like, yeah,
he's
tripping, you good.
She was like, maybe I was foolish and naive to think the first person I had an interest in was going to work out. Meanwhile, he's like depressed. I was like, I like this.
Yeah, I was like, I really like how like basically all her phone calls were basically like, I mean, it could have been, but since it's not, you have plenty of other options.
Right.
Sulking around like, oh, I've been trying to call you, but you ain't even answered my phone. Oh, no.
I know. He was really, really devastated because he's the neighborhood hottie. He's used to the girls coming to him.
That name also aggravated me.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was cute, especially the candle. Oh my God, the candle.
No, the candle was absolutely adorable because I was like, yo, if somebody wants to go ahead and start making candles that smell like because Amber already does it here from, what's Amber's channel name? Amber Dior. There we go.
Yeah, Amber Dior.
He's done a couple of candles that smell like the romantic love interest. And I've always liked that idea because I'm like, what if you like really, really loved one of the love interests in the story? And like you get the candle, you're like, that's what he smelled like.
Right.
Like, and he fine. I can just see it all now.
Right. Painting that vivid picture.
Yeah, that part I liked. I just, because I was like, who the heck named, I forgot. Did she name him the neighborhood hottie?
She did.
Okay.
I like how he was named that even in her phone. Like her dedication to that nickname was solid.
And I do like the cutesy, the very realistic relationship that was like, okay, well, you keep talking about these candles, like let's make these candles. Like I do appreciate that. I feel like I was like, okay, because real men are not intimidated by women starting business ventures and starting to do all that stuff with their life. They're actually very supportive and like very ready to get their hands dirty. So it was very nice for once.
Right.
To see that, because these ashy buckets be out here having you think that the only thing they want you to do is be barefoot and pregnant. And that's that crap. So I thought that scene was so cute. I'm like, oh, y'all are going to make candles together? Y'all are cute.
It was really sweet. And like the only thing that made me feel a little uneasy, which Christina C. Jones does this a lot with her shorter books, is you get the sense that you're just seeing like a few months into the characters' lives. Because most romance novels give you like a beginning, middle, and end. And by the time you're done reading it, there's this nice little epilogue, usually with somebody pregnant or something like that, that projects into the future, and you feel like you've seen the complete love story.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times Christina C. Jones, and I think that's what makes her story so realistic, it literally feels like we are just looking into this very specific time in their lives, and they will continue on, and we will not get to see the rest. And I definitely felt that, because what bothered me, and I guess it's also realistic because they hadn't known each other for that long, so it's realistic that they're not going to open up to each other all the way. But he didn't tell her about his PTSD and what caused it and what happened to him overseas, and she didn't tell him anything about her past.
I feel like that's okay, honestly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't like it, but I understood it because it felt very real. Like, how long have they known each other? A couple months, if that, if not a couple weeks. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, because you're just like, I get it. I like it. I like that part where it was like, do you want to talk about it? No. All right. Well, just know if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. And I was like, because essentially what Tempest was experiencing is the same kind of experience that a lot of veterans go through when they leave the military, of like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Because they've had such structure for their whole career that, like, when they retire or leave the service, it's like, well, what am I going to do with my life? Like, what am I good at? Like, what do I like to do? I mean, I don't really, like, normally I know everything that I'm supposed to do because someone is instructing me 24/7. So I really also like that correlation. I also like the fact that the whole story behind how Tristan had his daughter with his baby mama, I like that part of the story too, where he slid it in with nothing but truth.
Yes, very realistic.
It was just like, yes, thank you.
He was like, we fucked up and we had a baby at 17. I was like, facts.
Then I joined the military to try to take care of him. Okay.
Right. He was like, I did what I had to do. It's like very real. It's like, okay, that's commendable. But it wasn't like this woe is me story, or we weren't, he wasn't framed in this light of like, oh, feel sorry for me, or I'm such a statistic. He was just like, no, this happened, and I had to do what I had to do to take care of my family. I was like, I appreciate that.
Yes. I appreciated the fact that it was a strong Black man. I also appreciate that Tempest was a strong Black woman, and not in the sense of like, oh, she's strong because she puts up with all this crap from dudes. Like, she was actually strong that, like, she could kill somebody. That scene where they were yelling and she was like, I'm not the princess that needs rescuing in the tower. I'm the one you call to slit the princess's throat. And I was like, this written somewhere. I don't know where I'm gonna I don't know. This speaks to my soul on a spiritual level. I need this somewhere now.
That was kind of boss. I was like, she is a bad bitch. I was like, yes, I love her.
Because he was like, you must be an assassin because that whole slit princess throat thing. I was like,
I love how he ignored literally all of her hints of her past job. Like, he would almost bypass that and then just go to, well, you never told me what you used to do. And I'm like, she just told you that you just saw her choke someone out. You just,
right.
Are you not understanding? She just said she was an operative. What are you now picking up on?
Right. I'm like, she's using all of these specific terms that we know means spy, and you just blanketed it over it. Like,
I
when
kept waiting for him to be like,
when she said she was an operative, you did not say a word.
Not a word. I kept waiting for him to be like, you know what? I put it all together now. Even remember when her friend came to visit and they had the same rose tattoo?
Oh,
yes.
And he was covering up her friend's tattoo.
Why
I thought for sure.
I was like, she rolled in here with the same tattoo in the same place? Come on. You're not done, bro.
I kept waiting for him to say something and he never did. I was like,
I kept waiting for him to be like, okay, Tempest, now your tattoo was very distinct and specific.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to tell me how she ended up with the exact same tattoo in the same place. Like, there's no way I'd have been like, so you want me to ignore your bestie with the same tattoo?
Yes. He literally held his tongue on that. I was like, wow, the restraint. Because I would have had so many questions.
You would have had to, I would have been wild tattooing. So y'all gonna tell me what the hell this is? I was like, yo, I can't be in a story like this because I'd be asking all the questions.
All the questions. I would not let it rest.
Yeah, it was just like, huh.
Or
like when her daughter was like, yeah, I read all about it I read all about it online.
That was the best part. She was so matter of fact about it.
Yeah, and then she was like, what'd you say, little girl? I was like, girl, why are you getting crazy on a 13-year-old girl? She knows the truth and she says she still likes you.
Exactly. She's accepting you and all your dark tendencies.
I mean, you did just save her and pull out a switchblade. So I don't know what you thought she was going to think you were.
She connected the dots pretty damn quick.
She was like, oh, okay. She told me, the spy told me to go inside, so I'm going to go do that.
She took it so well. I was like, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, everything, he'd never put two together. Like the fact that she only wore black and white. Like there's just so many clues. I would have been like, this bitch is spy. It's okay though.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, guys can't be this oblivious. They can't.
But they are. That was really realistic, Christina C. Jones. Thank you for that portrayal.
It's like, thank you for the realness. Because females would have been like, so we need to talk.
You're right.
Exactly.
I'd have had a girls' night with both of them. Like, so what's the story behind these tattoos? And why all y'all get them in the same place?
Right.
Also, I was mad that she trickled in Keem.
I know. That was the teaser for you. I feel
bad.
Man,
because Christina C. Jones, if it be in your power, please give us a story about the garden. I don't need the love, obviously. So, like, if you just want to give me a whole spy story that I could just grip my teeth into, that would be great. Thanks, management. Because apparently we got thorns and roses. And I'm like, if you about to show me something else rose related and not tell me what the hell the garden is,
you're just going to lose it.
Yes. That's all I have.
I know. I really enjoyed this read. I mean, it just goes to show for those who have never read Christina C. Jones before this, how much she can do in 90 pages? 90
pages, yep.
That is insane.
Yeah, when I finished it, I was like, oh, I'm done?
Right. So I will forever appreciate her. She is such a masterful storyteller.
That's on facts.
Well, on that note, we have hit our hour mark.
Woo!
A little bit.
Thank you guys for participating in the first ever Nekkid Readathon.
Yes, thank you so much for participating. I mean, I know we sprung it on y'all kind of quick. If we do this again, which we well may, we're gonna try to plan it and give y'all ample time to get your TBRs together, and we probably won't do it in October ever again.
Yeah, because there was a lot of things happening in October. We were just being really petty when we put it in October this year.
We were being petty, but next year we're going to be better and plan it and give, ample time, just kind of like our throwback-a-thon where we give you ample time to prepare.
Yeah, so if you got the chance to check out some Black Love, I hope you enjoyed everything that you read. If you guys want to continue, keep shouting out Black Love. Keep shouting out the stories that you find, keep shouting out the authors that you find. Make people see that Black love is normal and Black love is appreciated and Black love is just as good as any other love.
Amen. That is an excellent note to end on. We just have a few announcements. Y'all know that we have a Patreon. If you didn't, now you do. And if you care to support us, we do have a link in the description box of this video. We would love your support. We are eternally grateful to the patrons we have right now. Thank you so much for your support. And we can't wait to keep producing things for y'all. We do have a Patreon exclusive podcast coming up very soon.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So thank you to our patrons. Also, we want to ask you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Make sure to hit the notifications bell so you'll always know when we're about to go live.
Shout out to 400 subscribers.
Yes, 400 subscribers. We finally made it. Make sure you give this live a like. That really does help us. And we will catch y'all on the flip side.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.